Rigveda, hymn 1.48, dawn, 16 verses. Dawn on us with prosperity, O Ushas, daughter of the sky. Dawn with great glory, goddess, lady of the light. Dawn thou with riches, bounteous one, they bringing steeds and kine, boon givers of all wealth, have oft sped forth to lighten us. O Ushas, waken up for me the sounds of joy. Send us the riches of the great. Ushas hath dawned, and now shall dawn the goddess, driver forth of cars, which as she cometh nigh, have fixed their thought on her, like glory seekers on the flood. Here Kanva, chief of Kanva's race, sings forth aloud the glories of the heroes' names. The princes who, O Ushas, as thou comest near, direct their thoughts to liberal gifts. Like a good matron, Ushas comes, carefully tending everything. Rousing all life, she stirs all creatures that have feet, and makes the birds of air fly up. She sends the busy forth, each man to his pursuit. Delay she knows not, as she springs, O rich in opulence, after thy dawning. Birds that have flown forth no longer rest. This dawn hath yoked her steeds afar, beyond the rising of the sun. Borne on 100 chariots, she, auspicious dawn, advances on her way to men. To meet her glance, all living creatures bend them down. Excellent one, she makes the light. Ushas, the daughter of the sky, the opulent, shines foes and enmities away. Shine on us with thy radiant light, O Ushas, daughter of the sky, bringing to us great store of high felicity, and beaming on our solemn rites. For in thee is each living creature's breath and life. When excellent thou dawnest forth, borne on thy lofty car, O lady of the light, hear thou of wondrous wealth our call. O Ushas, win thyself the strength which among men is wonderful. Bring thou thereby the pious unto holy rites, those who as priests sing praise to thee. Bring from the firmament, O Ushas, all the gods, that they may drink our soma juice, and, being what thou art, vouchsafe us kine and steeds, strength meet for praise and hero might. May Ushas, whose auspicious rays are seen resplendent round about, grant us riches, fair in form, of all good things, wealth which light labor may obtain. Mighty one, whom the Rishis of old time invoked for their protection and their help, O Ushas, graciously answer our songs of praise with bounty and with brilliant light. Ushas, as thou with light today hast opened the twin doors of heaven, so grant thou us a dwelling wide and free from foes. O goddess, give us food with kine, bring us to wealth abundant, sent in every shape, to plentiful brushing food, to all subduing splendor. Ushas, mighty one, to strength thou rich in spoil and wealth. And it's interesting how most cultures, if they're going to gender the watches of the night and day, night gets the female and the day gets the male. Although in some cultures the sun is thought of as female and the moon as male. Of course, the sun and the moon are often out at the same time. Well, I mean, there's a predictable cycle, but you know what I mean. The dawn, they say that a person lives longer, doesn't get arthritis, certain other things, if one wakes up, gets out of bed between dawn and sunrise. Every day is a habit. Hymn 149, dawn. Eden from above the sky's bright realm come, Ushas, by auspicious ways, let red steeds bear thee to the house of him who pours the soma juice. the chariot which thou mountest, fair of shape, O Ushas, light to move, and therewith, O daughter of the sky, aid men of noble fame today. Bright Ushas, when thy times return, all quadrupeds and bipeds stir, and around about flock winged birds from all the boundaries of heaven. Thou dawning with thy beams of light, illuminest all the radiant realm. Thee as thou art, the canvas, fame for wealth, have called with sacred songs. And it's said to be the best time to do worship that is obliged, right? And of course, there's the practice of not just doing something short, but doing something long, but only something for a couple minutes would be obliged. That was 4 verses. Hymn 150, Surya, 13 verses. His bright rays bear him up aloft, the God who knoweth all that lives, Surya, that all may look on him. The constellations pass away like thieves, together with their beams, before the all-beholding sun. His herald rays are seen afar, refulgent o'er the world of men, like flames of fire that burn and blaze. Swift and all beautiful art thou, Surya, maker of the light, illuming all the radiant realm. Thou goest to the house of gods, thou comest hither to mankind, hither all light to be beheld, with that same eye of thine wherewith thou lookest brilliant, Varuna, upon the busy race of men, traversing sky and wide mid-air. Thou meetest with thy beams our days, sun, seeing all things that have birth. 7 bay steeds harnessed to thy car bear thee, O thou far-seeing one, God Surya with the radiant hair. Surya hath yoked the pure bright 7, the daughters of the car, with these, his own dear team. He goeth forth, looking upon the loftier light. Above the darkness we have come, to Surya, God among the gods, the light that is most excellent, rising this day, O rich in friends, ascending to the loftier heaven. Surya, remove my heart's disease, take from me this my yellow hue. To parrots and to starlings let us give away my yellowness, or this my yellowness let us transfer to Rigveda trees. With all his conquering vigor, this Aditya hath gone up on high, giving my foe into mine hands. Let me not be my foeman's prey. And of course, the sun is the most important celestial body in terms of our existence on Earth. It's not the central one, period, but for our existence it is. And the bright 7, well, how many of the Pleiades you actually see varies per your eyesight and atmospheric conditions. Hymn 151, Indra, 15 verses. Make glad with songs that Ram, whom many men invoke, worthy of songs of praise. Indra, the sea of wealth, his gracious deeds for men spread like the heavens abroad. Sing praise to him, the sage, most liberal for our good, as aids the skillful, but booths yearn to Indra strong to save, who fills mid-air encompassed round with might, rushing in rapture and o'er Satakratu came the gladdening shout that urged him on to victory. Thou hast disclosed the kind stall for the Angarasas, and made a way for Etre by 100 doors. On Vimada thou hast bestowed both food and wealth, making thy bolt dance in the sacrificers' fight. Thou hast enclosed the prisons of the waters, thou hast in the mountain seized the treasure rich in gifts. When thou hadst slain with might the dragon Vritra, thou Indra didst raise the sun in heaven for all to see. With wondrous might thou blewest enchanter fiends away. With powers celestial those who called on thee in jest, thou, hero-hearted, hast broken down Pipru's forts and helped Rijesthan when the Dasyus were struck dead. Thou savest Kutsa when Sushna was smitten down. To Atithva gavest Sambara for a prey. E'en mighty Arbuda thou troddest underfoot. Thou from old wast born to strike the Dasyus dead. All power and might is closely gathered up in thee. Thy bounteous spirit joys in drinking soma juice. Known is the thunderbolt that lies within thine arms. Rend off therewith all manly prowess of our foe. Discern thou well Aryas and Dasyus. Punishing the lawless, give them up to him whose grass is strewn. Be thou the sacrificer's strong encourager. All these thy deeds are my delight at festivals. Indra gives up the lawless to the pious man, destroying by the strong ones those who have no strength. Vamra, when glorified, destroyed the gathered piles of the still waxing great one who would reach the heaven. The might which Usana hath formed for thee with might rends in its greatness and with strength both worlds apart. O hero souled, the steeds of Avata, yoked by thought, have carried thee to fame, while thou art filled with power. When Indra hath rejoiced with Kavya Usana, he loosed his bolt with the swift rush of rain, and he hath rent in pieces Suchna's firm-built forts. Thou mountest on thy car amid strong soma droughts. Saryata brought thee those in which thou hast delight. Indra, when thou art pleased with men whose soma flows, thou risest to the unchallenged glory in the sky. To old Kakshvant, soma presser, skilled in song, O Indra, thou didst give the youthful Vrachaya. Thou, very wise, wast Mena, Vrishanasva's child. Those deeds of thine must all be told at soma feasts. The good man's refuge in his need is Indra, firm as a doorpost, praised among the Pajras. Indra alone is lord of wealth, the giver, lover of riches, chariots, kine, and horses. To him, the mighty one, the self-resplendent, verily strong and great, this praise is uttered. May we and all the heroes with the princes be in this fray, O Indra, in thy keeping. And one of the essential things is that these stories provoke us towards things, and that certain stories of the tradition continuing to be enacted are also spread. Hymn 152, Indra, 15 verses. I glorify that Brahm who finds the light of heaven, whose 100 nobly natured ones go forth with him. With hymns may I turn hither, Indra, to mine aid, the car which like a strong steed hasteth to the call, like as a mountain on firm basis, unremoved, he thousandfold protector waxed in mighty strength, when Indra, joying in the draughts of soma juice, forced the clouds, slaying Vritra, stayer of their flow. For he stays e'en the stairs, spread o'er laden cloud, rooted in light, strengthened in rapture by the wise. Indra with thought, with skilled activity I call, most liberal giver, for he sates him with the juice, whom those that flow in heaven on sacred grass, his own assistants, nobly natured, fill full like the sea. Beside that Indra, when he smote down Vritra, stood his helpers, straight in form, mighty and invincible. To him, as in wild joy, he fought with him who stayed the rain. His helpers sped like swift streams down a slope. When Indra, thunder-armed, made bold by Somadrats, as Trita cleaveth Vala's fences, cleft him through. Splendor encompassed thee, forth shone thy warrior's might. The rain obstructor lay in mid-air's lowest deep. What time, O Indra, thou didst cast thy thunder down upon the jaws of Vritra, hard to be restrained. The hymns which magnify thee, Indra, reach to thee even as water brooks flow down and fill the lake. Tvashtar gave yet more force to thine appropriate strength, and forged thy thunderbolt of overpowering might. When Indra, thou whose power is linked with thy bay steeds, hadst smitten Vritra, causing floods to flow for man, thou heldest in thine arms the metal thunderbolt, and settest in the heaven the sun for all to see. In fear they raised the lofty self-resplendent hymn, praise-giving and effectual, leading up to heaven, when Indra's helpers, fighting for the good of men, the Marutas, faithful to mankind, joyed in the light. Then heaven himself, the mighty, at that dragon's roar, reeled back in terror, when Indra, thy thunderbolt, in the wild joy of Soma, had struck off with might the head of Vritra, tyrant of the earth and heaven. O Indra, were this earth extended forth tenfold, and men who dwell therein multiplied day by day, still here thy conquering might, Maghavan, would be famed. It hath waxed vast as heaven in majesty and power. Thou, bold of heart, in thine own native might, for help upon the limit of this mid-air and of heaven, hadst thou made the earth to be the pattern of thy strength, embracing flood and light. Thou reachest to the sky. Thou art the counterpart of earth, master of lofty heaven, with all its mighty heroes. Thou hast filled all the region with thy greatness. Yea, of a truth, there is none other like thee, whose amplitude the heaven and earth have not attained, whose bounds the waters of mid-air have never reached. Not when in joy he fights the stare of the rain. Thou and none else hast made all things in order due. The Marutas sang thy praise in this encounter, and in thee all the deities delighted. What time thou, Indra, with thy spiky weapon, thy deadly bolt, smotest the face of Vritra. And the timing and other conditions of what occurred can certainly be important to figure out how to experience those myths in our own lives. Hymn 153, Indra. 11 verses. We will present fair praise unto the Mighty One, our hymns to Indra in Vivasvat's dwelling place, for he hath ne'er found wealth in those who seem to sleep. Those who give wealth to men accept no paltry praise. Giver of horses, Indra, giver thou of kine, giver of barley, thou art lord and guard of wealth, man's helper from of old, not disappointing hope. Friend of our friends, to thee as such we sing this praise. Indra, most splendid, powerful, rich in mighty deeds, this treasure spread around is known to be thine own. Gather therefrom, O conqueror, and bring to us, fail not the hope of him who loves and sings to thee, well pleased with these bright flames, and with these soma drops. Take thou away our poverty with seeds and kine, with Indra scattering the Dasyu through these drops. Freed from their hate, may we obtain abundant food. Let us obtain, O Indra, plenteous wealth and food, with strength exceeding glorious, shining to the sky. May we obtain the goddess Providence and the strength of heroes, special source of cattle, rich in steeds. These are libations, strength inspiring. Soma draughts gladdened thee in the fight with Vritra, hero lord. What time thou slewest for the singer with trimmed grass 10,000 Vritras, thou resistless in thy might, thou goest on from fight to fight, intrepidly, destroying castle after castle here with strength. Thou, Indra, with thy friend, who makes the foe bow down, slewest from far away the guileful Namuchi. Thou hast struck down in death Kuranja, Porneya, in Atithagva's very glorious going forth, unyielding when Regisvan compassed them with siege. Thou hast destroyed the 100 forts of Vangrida, the 100 forts of Vangrida, with all outstripping chariot wheel, O Indra, thou far famed, hast overthrown the twice 10 kings of men, with 60,090 followers, who came in arms to fight with friendless Susravas. Thou hast protected Susravas with succor, and Turvayana with thine aid, O Indra. Thou madest Kutsa Atithagva a you subject unto this king, the young, the mighty. May we, protected by the gods, hereafter remain thy very prosperous friends, O Indra. Thee we extol, enjoying through thy favor, life long and joyful, with store of heroes. And some light beings certainly have whole groups of light beings under them, and when you compare the difference between the light beings, the Devis, and the Asuras, the fire beings, are more likely to want people to know their name. But in general, there's, groups. Maybe there's a chief or something, but the importance is, if there's more work to do and you can do that more work, why stop people being satisfied with you? Hymn 154, Indra, 11 verses. Urge us not, Mangavan, to this distressful fight, for none may comprehend the limits of thy strength. Thou, with fierce shout, hast made the woods and rivers roar. Did not men run in crowds together in their fear, sing hymns of praise to Sakra, Lord of power and might? Laud thou and magnify Indra, who heareth thee, who with his daring might, a bull exceeding strong in strength, maketh him master of the heaven and earth. Sing forth to lofty Gyaus a strength bestowing song, the bold, whose resolute mind hath independent sway. High glory hath the Asura, compact of strength, drawn on by 2 bay steeds. A bull, a car is he, the ridges of the lofty heaven thou madest shake. Thou, daring of thyself, smotest through Sambara, when bold with gladdening juice thou warrest with thy bolt, sharp and 2-edged, against the banded sorcerers, when, with a roar that fills the woods, thou forcest down on wind's head the stores which Sushna kept confined. Who shall have power to stay thee firm and eager-souled from doing still this day what thou of old hast done? Thou helpest Narya, Turvasa, and Yadu, Nvaya's son, Turvita, Satakratu. Thou helpest horse and car. In final battle, thou breakest down the 99 castles. A hero lord is he, king of a mighty folk, who offers free oblations and promotes the law, who with a bounteous guerdon welcomes hymns of praise. For him flows down the abundant stream below the sky. His power is matchless, matchless is his wisdom. Chief through their work be some who drink the soma, those Indra who increase the lordly power, the firm heroic strength of thee, the giver. Therefore, for thee are these abundant beakers Indra's drink. Stone-pressed juices, held in ladles, quaff them and satisfy therewith thy longing. Then fix thy mind upon bestowing treasure. There darkness stood, the vault that stayed the water's flow. In Vrita's hollow side, the rain cloud lay concealed. But Indra smote the rivers which the obstructor stayed, flood flowing after flood, down steep declivities. So give us, Indra, bliss, increasing glory. Give us great sway and strength that conquers people. Preserve our wealthy patrons, save our princes, vouchsafe us wealth and food with noble offspring. And 6,099, what can that symbolize? We saw that before, but perhaps we're looking at divine qualities here. 99 that falsely represented divine qualities being overtaken by the one beyond the qualities in essence. Hymn 155, Indra, 8 verses. Though e'en this heaven's wide space and earth has spread them out, nor heaven nor earth may be in greatness Indra's match, awful and very mighty, causing woe to men. He whets his thunderbolt for sharpness, as a bull, like as the watery ocean, so doth he receive the rivers spread on all sides in their ample width. He bears him like a bull to drink of soma juice, and will as a warrior from of old be praised for might. Thou swayest, Indra, all kinds of great manly power, so as to bend, as 'twere, even that famed mountain down. Foremost among the gods is he through hero might, set in the van, the strong one for each arduous deed. He only in the wood is praised by worshippers, when he shows forth to men his own fair Indra power. A friendly bull is he, a bull to be desired when Mangavan auspiciously sends forth his voice. Yet verily the warrior in his vigorous strength stirreth up with his might great battles for mankind, and men have faith in Indra, the resplendent one. What time he hurleth down his bolt, his dart of death, though famed for glory, and with strength increased on earth, he with great might destroys the dwellings made with art. He makes the lights of heaven shine forth secure. He builds exceeding wise the floods flow for his worshipper. Drinker of soma, let thy heart incline to give. Bring thy bays hitherward, O thou who hearest praise. Those charioteers of thine, best skilled to draw the rein, the rapid sunbeams, Indra, lead thee not astray. Thou bearest in both hands treasure that never fails. The famed one in his body holds unvanquished might. O Indra, in thy members many powers abide, like wells surrounded by the ministering priests. And so that built by art, well, we can say that regardless of the art and science of creation, deity has even greater knowledge with that, or perhaps the issue that it is mere art, right? The pursuing of beauty or style without knowledge in what you're expressing, or without being the right thing, right? Hymn 156, Indra, 6 verses. For this man's full libations, held in ladles, he hath roused him. Eager as a horse to meet the mare, he stays his golden car, yoked with bay horses, swift, and drinks the soma juice which strengthens for great deeds. To him the guidance following songs of praise flow full, as those who seek gain go in company to the flood. To him, the Lord of power, the holy synods might, as to a hill with speed, ascend the loving ones. Victorious great is he, in manly battle shines, unstained with dust, his might as shines a mountain peak, wherewith the iron one fierce in against the strong in rapture, fettered wily Shushna fast in bonds, when strength the goddess made more strong for help by thee, waits upon Indra as the sun attends the dawn. Then he who with his might unflinching kills the gloom stirs up the dust aloft with joy and triumphing. When thou with might upon the framework of the heaven didst fixed across air's region, firmly unremoved in the light-winning war, Indra in rapturous joy, thou smotest Vritra dead and broughtest floods of rain. Thou with thy might didst grasp the holder up of heaven, thou who art mighty also in the seats of earth, thou gladdened by the juice, hast set the waters free, and broken Vritra's stony fences through and through.